Greetings folks, my name is Halen and welcome to the second episode of From Knife to Knife. Now, if you remember the first episode, I finished with 31 keys, and this is where we'll be starting today. Now, for my first trade, I spent 12 keys on an AK case hardened field tested with a Holding Dawn sticker on it. I didn't quite know how to price it, but I figured it was cheap enough for me to get at least some sort of profit, and I sold it within hours for the aftermarket equivalent of nearly 18 keys. Next up, I got myself a Scout Blood in the Water minimal wear for 8 keys and flipped it for 9 keys, which gave me a running total of 37 keys. For my next two trades, I spent 12 keys each on both a USP Kill Confirmed minimal wear and an AK Aquamarine Revenge minimal wear as well. And I made 1 key profit on both these trades, so I was left with a running total of 39 keys. Next up, I spent 5 keys on a StatTrak AK Cartel minimal wear and sold it on the market for a bit over 5 keys. In fact, it was around 5.5 keys after market tax. So for my next trade, I spent 7 keys on a StatTrak USP Stainless Factory New, which took me quite a while to sell, but I did get a whole key profit out of it, so I was fine with that because I wasn't exactly in a hurry to begin with. Now, my next trade was a bit bigger investment. I spent 25 keys on a Bayonet Safari Mesh minimal wear and sold it on the market for 1 key profit, which wasn't exactly that much profit compared to some smaller investments that turned out with similar profits, but it sold really quick, so I was fine with that. Next up, I spent 5 keys on a StatTrak Glock Water Elemental well worn, and this is an example of what you should not be doing, because it is a skin that is not traded that often and I essentially paid too much for it. I was able to get rid of it after nearly 1 week without any profit at all. So yeah, everybody makes mistakes pretty much, including me, guess what? But I just wanted to point this out here because it might seem like my job is relatively easy. I'm just trading stuff for keys and making a profit out of stuff, turning money into more money, which is just not the case. It doesn't always work like that. I failed in this case. I mean, I did not lose money, thankfully. In fact, that never really happened so far in this series, I think, but I just didn't make money either and I lost a few days. So for my next trade, I was a bit more successful. I spent 21 keys on an M4A1S Masterpiece field tested and flipped it pretty much instantly for 22 keys. And for the last trade of this episode, I spent 1 whole key for a StatTrak Mac 10 Heat minimal wear. Now, I sold it again on the market and bought myself 1 key with the money that I got, and I had like 20 cents left. Now, this might not seem like a huge amount of profit, but I only spent 1 key on it, so it was nearly a 10% profit that I had on this trade, and this is something that you need to keep in mind when trading. It's not only the absolute amount of profit, but also the relative amount of profit. Say if I spend 20 keys on an item and I get only 1 key profit out of it, just like I did with the M4 Masterpiece, and I also spend 1 key on another item, in this case the Mac 10, and I get 20 cents profit out of it. It actually does make more sense to buy 20 Mac 10s and flip them for 20 cents profit each, but it just doesn't work out like this. In fact, I do have problems finding trades often enough where I can make a profit from. Now, in my case, this is probably linked to the fact that the key price for me is worse than for other people, because the Swiss franc is normally worth a bit more than the US dollar, but I still pay a couple of cents more per key than people using the US dollar in the Steam market, which I can understand that Steam doesn't update their data daily or something like this for the key prices, but at least I feel that they could have picked a broader average price when determining new key prices. But anyways, this is just my opinion, and obviously I'm a bit biased in this way because I'm the quote-quote victim of this system like it is in place now. But after all, I made some profit in this episode. Actually, I went from 31 to 42 keys, which is 11 keys total. Now, of course, nearly half of the profit was simply from 1 trade, but still pretty solid in my opinion. So yeah, that's been for this episode pretty much. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, and if you won't, sub if you haven't done so already. Until next time, bye.